Thank you, listeners and affiliates, for making the FishyFins.com internet radio network a success.
Look at her. Holy cow. So we just landed about 150 to 65 pound tarpon. We're now floating to revive her, running her through some water.
Experts selling the only pedal kayaks with a reverse, pedal forward or backwards. Need a paddle fishing board, SUP, or kayak? You need Westwall Boats.
Well, it's turning out to be a beautiful Sunday morning. It's April the 20th. It's Easter morning. Happy Easter, everybody. It's going to be a beautiful day to get out and do a little fishing. We've got a few clouds off of Boca Grande and heading down there towards Sanibel, but it looks like they're about a mile or two offshore. And I was looking at NBC-2.com's radar, but it looks like it's going to be a beautiful day. I'm going to head out around Alligator Bay this morning, do a little fishing, have a good time. If you're waking up, I remember, as a kid, if you're waking up and you're having some candy, make sure you get all the aluminum off of it. You'll pay if you don't. And so the kids are happy. Easter morning, they're waking up eating candy, finding Easter eggs, all that good stuff. The dentists are happy. They're waking up, looking through catalogs, seeing where they're going to buy when all that money comes in the door from all those aching teeth. So it's a great day for everybody. Win-win. And we're going to talk to Bruce Nelson today. Bruce Nelson's a veteran. He lives in Lee County, and he fishes up and down the Caloosahatchee River. He mainly does kayak fishing and has some great pictures on his Facebook site. He belongs to a kayak club there. Actually, it's a kayak club, I believe, and check at his website and check with them. I believe they're across the country, and they just get together and they share photos, stories, stuff like that, all from fishing from kayaks, which is really cool. And I got to look at some of the stuff, and I mean, some of these guys are catching monster fish. My guess is that they're getting pulled around quite a bit and going for a ride when they catch some of these fish on kayaks. And so Bruce is a great guy. He actually lived up in Tampa for a while. He lived here in Port Charlotte, and now he's down in Lee County. So he has some great fishing experience and stories to share with us. I talked to him for a little bit, and even about our local area here where we do a lot of fishing, backwater fishing in the canals. And so Bruce lived here. He knows the area really well. It's pretty cool. And he's probably going to do something about once a week or so. We'll see how it works out. It's finally clearing up so that he can get out there and do some fishing and have a good time. So the weather allowing, hopefully we'll be able to get about a once a week fishing update from all of our guys that are hosting channels here. So that's really cool. We're going to come back back to Bruce Nelson, a little welcome, meet and greet, just a quick interview over the telephone. Had a great time talking to him, real nice guy. And so we're going to come back and go right on out to Bruce.
Yes, is Frank?
Yeah, it sure is. My phone just finally came up and started working. The storm kind of blew through and took us out for a little bit.
Yeah, we're getting ready to have it's probably a while before it'll get to here, but I was looking at the weather and I saw your post and I checked the weather. That's why I said, yeah, we can do this tomorrow because I don't think I'm going out tomorrow. It looks rough tomorrow too, so.
I think so. It's that time of year. About every afternoon we start getting these storms that come through. It kind of sets up now and does it all summer long.
Right, yeah. I used to live up there in Port Charlotte for a while, and then I was in Newport Richey for a little bit, and then now I'm down here in Fort Myers. I want to get back up to Port Charlotte though before.
It's beautiful. With the Charlotte Harbor here, it's some nice boating, nice fishing out here, and we got some nice. I've always liked the harbor keys here in Charlotte Harbor because especially as a kayaker, I mean, you can get up in those keys and have a good time. We have a lot of guys that run around out there.
Well, I lived on Lakemont, which the intersection of it was with West Tarpon.
Oh,
and I could ride up West Tarpon right there to Edgewater, and I could take two choices. I could go up the road a little bit and fish Sunrise Park, or I could go up underneath the bridge there, and there'd be guys up under there all the time. We'd catch mangrove, snapper, and all kinds of stuff. I'd go up to the end of Midway and catch, we caught some great fish up there. But
I think that whole area, that whole part that comes off of Alligator Bay, all those little finger canals over where Spring Lake is and the ramp, and although, like you say, at the end of Midway, I mean, I grew up out here, and we've gone out there. They used to have those old locks in there that they took out at the end of Midway, and there's that little estuary back there behind the mangroves that opens up on the other side into Alligator Bay. And
right.
Boy, I'll tell you what, the fish that get held up in there, I had a friend of mine, well, he's on the show there, Chris Taylor. I've gone out with him a couple of times. He had a little John boat when we were a little bit younger we'd run around in, and boy, he put me on some big snook out there many a times.
Yeah, right there at the end of Midway, there's a vacant lot. We'd go down there. I'd go there first thing in the morning, right at sunrise, catch mangrove snapper, and then go home and have breakfast.
Oh yeah, absolutely. As a matter of fact, that little turnstile's right there. I get out there about sunset. Now, I haven't been out in a while because they did some kind of development and they started closing some of that off there. And so I haven't been out there in some time. But now I used to go out there in the evening. I get a Zara Spook the bone and throw that sucker out there, and either I get a big jack or a snook or something. There's always something out there. And
that's what I was going to say. Right at the old vacant lot there.
Yep.
There's a bunch of riprap.
Yep.
I catch mangrove snapper there.
Yep, beautiful.
Sheepshead. Walk over where the concrete slab is that goes down into the water for the runoff. Mm-hmm. And you can stand there and cast up towards the mangroves there and work a jet along the mangroves there, and you nail redfish like crazy.
Oh, yeah.
This isn't a bad spot.
As a matter of fact, I remember one time I went, where Countryman Waterway is, you go over those bridges heading out Midway, those 105 bridges, and I was fishing Countryman in there with Chris, and he's using that 7M11 that I think it's made by, I don't know if it's a Rapala or a Rebel, I think it's a Rebel, and he's fishing it, and I think I had the 713 or something, and I'm like, man, I ain't catching nothing. He's getting one snook after another. And I look at him like, more, we're using the exact same lure, and he smiles and flips it over. He's like, nope, I'm using the floater, you're using the sinker. And I'm like, son of a bitch, you're right, and I switched over and I started getting snook all over the place out there, so it's, that whole area's always been super hot. I love it.
Yeah, I used to like, where the Port Charlotte Harbor Park is there, on Harbor Drive, or Harbor Boulevard, whatever it's called.
Oh, yeah.
A little park there. There's a whole small dock there, the boat ramp and that.
Oh, yeah.
I used to get down there and stand on that little dock, man, and I'd catch mangrove snapper in there and redfish and all kinds of stuff. And Eric Shavarinsky's fished up there in his kayak before. I think it's actually called Redfish. Is it Redfish Cove or something like that, or something that's got a name for it?
Redfish Cove up in there, all that around Alligator Bay, and like you said, they're usually named after the fish you catch in there, It's,
well, it's the first place I ever caught a fish on a topwater lure.
Oh, is that right?
Ever in my whole life. When I lived up in Ohio for a long time, and we'd come down here every summer to St. Pete, and my Nana had a house over there by Boca Ciega Bay. We could watch the Treasure Island Bridge go up every time it went up.
Beautiful.
And I like Florida. I like saltwater fishing. I like better than freshwater anyways. I finally, last year in July, I caught my first bass.
Oh, cool.
It was a big day at first. It was my first day fishing freshwater in a kayak. First day using a lure, and caught a bass from a kayak on the first bass from a kayak, first lure. Yeah, it was one of them things. I posted it up on Facebook, and Eric's like laughing at me. He said, "What are you talking about? Seriously?" I said, "Yeah, when I fished up north, we fished for crappie and bluegill."
Oh, sure. Yep.
Because we were eating them things. And most people I know don't fish to eat bass.
Yeah, it's true. Matter of fact, I tell you what, the crappie and the bluegill up north, I had some in Georgia. I got some in-laws that live up there, and boy, they are tasty. And
they're buttery tasty. Fantastic stuff. And the ones down here, a lot of the blue, and I haven't been able to find bluegill down here yet. So.
Yeah, they're small. They're smaller down here, and I tell you what, I think one of the problems is around in some of these waterways with the bluegill is people let these Oscars and these other aggressive pets go in the waterways, and I think they kind of wipe out a lot of the indigenous species, at least chase them out a little bit. But
the tilapia is doing that here.
Oh yeah, that's for sure. Matter of fact, I seen one. Some guy posted one on Facebook, and he's like, "What the hell is this?" He thought it was a triple fin. And he's like, no, they're like, that's a tilapia, man. They're all over the place now. So, yeah, they are. You're right.
We had a FWC guy in Punta Gorda one time. It would have been about 2009, right before I moved up to Newport Richie. And we were fishing in one of the little, ponds over there. We see him coming over, and we're all like, man. So, have haven't got what we're looking for, which was bass and, crappie or bluegill and that. And he says, well, we got a few small ones. He says, well, if you happen to pull in any of them damn tilapia here, don't put them back in the water.
Oh, yeah, sure.
I looked at him and I said, seriously? He says, yeah, every one of them you catch. Just, if you're not even going to take them home, just toss them up in the bank.
Sure.
But we want them out of the water. And I thought, wow, that's the first time I've ever heard a conservation officer say something like that.
Yeah, matter of fact, they're doing that with the lionfish now that are all over the salt water. They're like, just spear them, shoot them, we don't care. Just get them the hell out of the water because lionfish doing the same thing. So,
yeah, and I think they're confused on where the lionfish might have come from. That's not like an aquarium fish that gets dumped out somewhere.
Well, you wouldn't think, but I used to play with saltwater aquariums and I had a lot of friends that did. I got out of it because it just got to be too much back-breaking work. I got a bad back and I just don't want to carry buckets of water. So I got done with that. But I had a couple of friends that were into it, and a couple of them, boy, those lionfish do get huge. You get them in a big tank and you start feeding them, and you may have a hell of a monster on your hands you got to feed. So I could see some of these guys, they let snakes go, they let, fish go. Some people just don't think, and they do that stuff,
Well, yeah, the Everglades is full of all kinds of constrictors now because these people, one after another, just keep turning that stuff loose, and I'm thinking, have you lost your minds?
Oh, it's a mess. Some of those snakes, I can appreciate people want something unique and cool. I mean, we all love nature. That's why we're out there. But, like you said, you got to use your mind. You got to think. And this boa constrictor, this python's going to get, 20 foot long and eat me. So, maybe not be a good idea.
When it gets too big, what's so hard about calling up, like, Fish and Wildlife or calling a local preserve or zoo or something? Like, hey, I got a huge snake. It's this, and I bought it as a pet, but it's too big for the house. I'd like to donate it to the zoo. What's wrong with doing that instead of just turning it loose in our environment?
Exactly. Anything works. Like I said, some people, they might be afraid. Maybe they don't have a license to have. Who knows? They get paranoid.
Well, I think they just started the license for having them, didn't they? Before they were just letting them have them until the baby got eaten up there by where I lived in Newport Richie, and then they found a guy that owned one that was halfway swallowed by his pet snake.
Good Lord.
And I told my friends that. Yeah, you're the ones that said, let's get a snake. Oh, no, they're friendly. They're just like pets. They really love you. They like to be around. This one's trying to swallow its owner, so tell me about how nice they are.
I tell you, I grew up in the woods out here, and I think two times I remember running through, you get into those palmetto palms, and running through the woods as a kid, you're not thinking, and I'd either step right on or right next to big diamondback rattler. And I've got no desire to have no pet snake whatsoever. I'll tell you right now. Just no, thank you.
I got two phobias that they're not that type of phobia that make me completely freak out, but it's spiders and snakes. But snakes usually move away from me. Spiders will keep coming at me, and I'm like, did you not see me throw the shoe at you? Why are you still walking this way?
Well,
I don't want to kill you.
You're in a kayak now. If you're going up the Caloosahatchee a little bit, I know damn well you're running into some of those big, colorful banana spiders that like to hang out in the mangroves. And those suckers will make you scream. I'll tell you what, it'll make me scream anyway.
I've been staying a little further away from the mangroves here than...
Oh, yeah.
When I was up in Newport Richie, I was on the Piscataqua River, and I used to go pretty far up in there. I'd go up far enough to where you couldn't kayak anymore. You'd have to portage, so I'd just kind of turn around and head back. But you catch a lot of nice fish up there and that, and it's real pretty. We used to get a lot of pictures of eagles up there and so on. And the mangroves are right there on you. At some point, you're going through a mangrove tunnel, which I've gone through them at Matlacha and that, but like you said, when you find out more about them big spiders, you're like, man, maybe I don't want to go through the mangrove tunnels as much anymore.
I've run into a few myself. I'll tell you what. Even you got to watch. Even some snakes will hang there. Moccasins love hanging from a tree and waiting for something to swim by. So you just never know out there. But I tell you what, that's cool though. Now you guys, where do you guys usually get around with the kayaks and the Caloosahatchee? Where are you guys fishing around?
How familiar are you with the river here?
Fairly well. I do a lot of virtual tour photography up and down there throughout Tice, Fort Myers Shores, up in Olga and stuff. So, I know the area kind of well, but I've never really gone out there with a boat and fished the Caloosahatchee.
I'm kind of west. I launched from a place called Royal Palm Park.
Oh, okay. I know what it's at. Okay.
On Royal Palm Park Drive there is where I've usually launched, and then I've gone up by the railroad trestle bridge, the drawbridge there.
Yep.
Up towards 75, The day I went down and caught all them trout I was heading down. I was going to go up Billy Bowlegs Creek. And if they didn't have it there, I was going to go down by Edison Bridge. Because I've caught many of those snapper near there, but not from the kayak yet. So I'm in that area. There's another place, Lagoon Drive. It's a little farther ride on my mountain bike to get the kayak over there, but it has a better ramp to launch. And it's on the backside of what they call Beautiful Island.
Okay.
Which is right there by the railroad. It's on the other side. It's on the east side of the railroad bridge.
Okay.
It's where this little park is. And I've talked to some guys there that have been catching redfish and even some snook around in that area. So,
well, that's all nice.
Interesting.
I mean, you got really nice cover there too. There's, the mangroves, all those little islands that approach the 75 bridge there. I mean, really some nice cover and some nice bottom of that.
Well, Don Graves told me to go up by 75, and there's a creek you can go up in there on the far side of the river, on the north side of the river. Little creek right just west of the bridge. And I looked it up. He sent me a Google map photograph. And I looked and I thought, wow, there's a whole long way I could go up there on the kayak before it got too narrow. But he said you got to watch it because there are gators up in there. I thought, oh, well, aren't they more scared of us than we are them?
Yeah, you got it. The gators usually aren't too bad, as long as you don't get it. But you come across one on a nest, you definitely want to back off. But generally, even like snakes, they're going to get out of your way, and they're not looking to mess with you. But I'll tell you, I'm looking at that picture in the satellite right now on my computer, and right next to the interstate, like you say, where that kind of creeps up there. And that is a nice little waterway that goes in there. It's probably got a little depth through it. I bet that is some good fishing.
Yeah, he said he's got some good-sized fish in there before, so I don't know. Right now I'm trying to get my way down there to Sanibel, which for me, from where I'm launching at, it's going to be like an 18-mile one-way kayak trip, it looks like.
Ooh, that's a good ride.
Using the, what do they call that little tape measure thing on Google Earth, where you can plot your course,
Oh, okay, yep, I'm looking at it, the little, the key, it says it's a distance key.
Yeah, it's under tools, and I've used that before and checked a few things out, and it looks like it'd be a really long trip down, and then I have to fight a current coming back and all of that, so
yeah,
I'm planning that one out when I get somebody to hook me up with a ride and go down there, and then maybe make a day of fishing Sanibel or something like that. I'd like to get up Matt Lachey again this year. That was, last year with the Okeechobee coming down this river, it was horrible.
Oh, is that right?
Fishing over at Cape Coral, fishing even over at Cape Coral's Pier, right there, right by the mouth of the river.
Yep.
Catching nothing but catfish. The water looked like coffee.
Oh, the Lord.
I took the kayak out, went on the back. Yeah, and I went on the back area of Matt Lachey Pass there in the mangroves, right off of one of the roads there in Cape Coral.
Yep.
And I was catching, I broke a 10 fishing rod with a snook towed me into the mangroves.
Whoa, beautiful. They're all over there.
Yeah, I didn't get the snook. As soon as the rod broke, the line, kind of went across it, and it's that braided line. It got it.
It was done. Oh, no.
I've had people tell me, we use braided line to rake the barnacles off the pilings of the El Jabin Bridge so we can get chum going in the water to catch fish. Apparently the broken tip of a Penn fishing rod will cut that line.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah, the braided line's good, but sometimes if it doesn't snap, your rod's going to go. That's for sure.
But I contacted Penn and told him what happened and that, and the lady said, well, send us some pictures. We need to see some pictures and that, and then we'll send you an email. And, they said it was $20 on their website to replace it, which for me was a good deal. I paid like $80 for the pole. So.
Oh, that's a great deal. Yeah, that's awesome.
I took like 3 or 4 pictures, sent it to them. I get an email back that says, here's your such and such code and everything. Fill out the form, enter this code. And then I called them because it didn't say how much I had to send them or how to send them the money, even if I could do debit card or whatever, right?
Yep.
And I called them. I said, yeah, I've got the code and everything to enter, but it didn't tell me, do I have to give my debit card out? She said, hold on. She looks up. No, your rod was only a month and a half old.
Beautiful. Hey, that's what they're great. I mean, they're a great company.
Yeah. They made a customer for life,
Yep, absolutely. And they do that, whether it's rods or reels, anything that they sell, they do back. So they're, you pay a little more for quality, but when the time comes, they stand behind the product, so you just can't beat it.
Yeah, well, I've got the Penn Fierce, the Fierce 4000, and I've got the Hand Allegiance rod that it's mounted on that I bought up there in the Hudson area, not Hudson, Holiday area by Newport Richie.
Yep, beautiful. Yeah, Port
And then,
Richey, I got family up there in Newport Richie. That area is beautiful. We got one of our hosts also up there, and you know, the water. You know, you get into that blue water around St. Petersburg, and I used to go down to Fort DeSoto. That was a little bit down south of St. Pete Beach, and you know, that whole area is just so beautiful. Great fishing, bluefish, king mackerel, and everything out there.
I used to go. We'd go to Anclo Fishing Pier right there by the power plant, which is right by Holiday also in Tarpon Springs. And man, we had some of the best luck fishing from that pier. That's the only pier I've ever really had luck fishing from, to tell you the truth.
I tell you, you know, the power plant's got, it's funny, everybody knocks it now. We got the coal power plant up there on the Caloosahatchee, and for a long time, environmentalists were upset about it. And now it seems to be the savior of the manatee that are on the Caloosahatchee. They head up there in the winter. And, you know, it's kind of amazing, you know, how some things hurt one thing, but they help the other, you know. Those power plants do come in handy.
Yep. Up there at Anclo, that warm water release that they put out twice a day, I believe it is. Those fish go up in there, man. I mean, there's sharks. I actually caught, what's its name, that attaches to the sharks of Remora one time up there.
Oh, wow.
Man, you'd have some of the best fishing right by the little barrels and stuff. It keeps people from going out into the channel right by the power plant.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, guys that anchor up there and catch trout all winter long. It's, you know, redfish, snook.
Sure, nice warm water. You know the fish are going to love it and head up there. So
exactly,
awesome.
yep. And then people fish the end of the pier for sharks. And there's sharks in that canal, too, so.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what, right now, you know, we're seeing the warm water move in now, so we've got sharks all over Charlotte Harbor. They're catching sharks on the artificial reef. Even the old tire reef that I thought was washed out a long time ago, they're catching sharks on. But so they're definitely moving in with the warm water. The trout right now, you know, they're sort of spawning now, so there's huge trout laying all over the place in these grassy flats. So I'm sure it's like that down there by you too.
Surprised me to catch trout all the way up there in the river where I caught it.
Yeah, it's amazing. They're everywhere, bud.
About a half a mile or a mile east of the Edison Bridge is where I was catching them at. I couldn't believe it. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. They ain't supposed to be out there this time of year.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. As a matter of fact, I was with Pop. We went up just north of the Peace River. You know where the power lines are up there, just past Harbor Heights Park on the Peace River. And I was pulling a, what do you call, rattle trap, one of the silver and black rattle traps, a 1 ounce one, a big one. And ended up with a tarpon on there, and I couldn't believe I got a tarpon. Now later on in the summer they get up there when the water comes up about another 1.5 to 2 foot, but nice sized tarpon way up there. I mean, it was actually starting to get into brackish and fresh water up there. So yeah, they're definitely heading a little bit further up the river here lately.
I grabbed a small tarpon at one of the canals. I can't think of the name of the road here now. It's in Cape Coral. You have to. It's right after I crossed Cape Coral Boulevard, there's a little bridge, and that's where I was fishing off the bridge, and all of a sudden my line just started going out. It was a real young tarpon, and right as I got it to the seawall, of course, it shook the hook and came off. But,
oh yeah, they got a hard bill, boy. They're hard to keep on the hook. I'll tell you what.
Yeah, that one wasn't staying hooked.
He came along for the ride and then left.
I was so mad because I wanted to get a picture because, you know, everybody's always talking about tarpon. It fought hard. I mean, I couldn't believe how it fought, but...
Well, you know, you don't expect them. My mistake with any tarpon is always, you know, you got to, as soon as you set the hook, you got to grab the rod and really pull. And, I mean, they just got a bill that's hard as bone. Well, it is bone. So it's, you got to, even with a sharp hook, that sucker sometimes just kind of click over the top of the bill and then they turn sideways and he's gone, baby.
Hold on a second, Frank.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Bruce, actually, I've got to get going. I got to eat. I can smell my barbecue out there. It smells great. I am so stinking hungry.
There you go.
I think I'm going to have a Guinness with it, too, tonight. It's Friday.
There you go.
Yeah, I do love it. You know, it's a beer of its own or an ale of its own. I love Guinness. So it's once you get on Guinness, forget about it. Everything else is just kind of second. You know,
Guinness just blends really well with a good steak or, like you said, a good grill out of any kind. Even with hamburgers and that, it just seems to have the right taste combo.
It does. I think, matter of fact, one time I think Samuel Adams has it. Usually it's during Christmas time. They have a coffee or a chocolate bean that they make an ale that was, I mean, I actually got the liquor store here locally to get it for me last year, and I mean, it was, if you like a dark ale, it is just out of this world. And but you know, I think it's like $9 a 6-pack, a little bit crazy priced. But you know, for what the hell is Christmas time? So you know.
Yeah. The last time I had a Guinness was up in up northern Kentucky right before I left to move back down here in 2008, and I think I paid $1.75 for one stinking bottle. So.
Oh yeah, that's about it too. It costs you a couple bucks a bottle. Matter of fact, they put the little aerator in it, so you pop it open and it goes yeah. You got to pay for the sound, I guess.
Yeah, we might, you know.
And
yeah, that's cool.
You know,
yeah, as the weather gets better, I'll be getting out more and more often. Anyways, there's a guy in Newport Richie. Maybe I've heard of him.
This is Scott Larson. He's a pro rep for Impact Lures and wow, quite a few other ones too. Productive
I've heard that name
Lures
before
and,
somewhere.
I think Redbone fishing rods and Procure Bait Scent. Quite a few of them. But there's a redfish tournament up there in Titusville, Florida, and him and his son are going to be up there. I guess it's an IFA thing, so we're going to talk a little bit about that, some of the lures he uses, stuff like that. So that should be pretty cool.
Sounds good. Yeah, give me a holler, and whatever I can find out, I'll put out.
I sure appreciate it. That's what we're looking for.
I don't hide the fishing spots. I like to have people get out there and enjoy it, because the more that they go out, the more people we can get fishing. Obviously, the better our sport's going to be.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah, and it's enjoyable. You know, there's plenty for everybody. You know, and I tell you what, you get two guys in the exact same place using the exact same bait. One guy will have a great day. Other guy will wonder what the hell happened. You know, so
oh man,
that's just how it goes. You know.
Been there and done that, man.
Oh, you got that right. All right, Bruce. I'm gonna go eat, buddy. You guys have a wonderful night, and I'll give you probably either give you a ring or send you a message in Facebook tomorrow, and we'll get together again and do something cool.
Sounds good.
All right, buddy.
Thank you so much.
Hey, you have a wonderful holiday too.
You too.
Bye.
Hey, and I'm back here. Like I said, Bruce is a great guy. I really enjoyed that conversation. It's always nice to talk to people that know the waters that you're fishing in and some of the common fishing holes. So it's just a great conversation. And like I said, Bruce is going to try to do this about once a week or so, you know, time allowing, weather allowing, and all that. We're trying to make it really convenient and fun for everybody that's getting involved in this. And so everybody can get up to date information, and it doesn't bog anybody down. So we sure do appreciate it, Bruce. I know it takes a lot of time to do stuff like this, and we sure do appreciate the input. So we're gonna go ahead and go to eat some Easter dinner. I'm gonna let everybody go, and just in case, we might do a little fishing after we eat. And if we do, and I get some pictures or some video, or maybe if I even am lucky enough to catch something today, which would be awesome, we'll get it up here. If anybody sends anything to us, if you can, send it to the fish at FishyFins.com, and or text it to me. Text it to 941-204-9100. Take a picture, do a video, you know, just record a fishing report and send it to me. That'd be really cool, and we'll get it on our show and give you full credit. You know, your name. If you're a charter boat captain, we'll put your charter boat website address, your phone number on it, so you could use it for some great free advertising. So we sure do appreciate it, and you all have a wonderful holiday. And remember, you see a guy, Big Fuzzy Mike, a camera in his hand, he's coming toward you, you're fishing. I'm not the game warden, I'm not law enforcement. It's just me here trying to get a fish story, and y'all just be cool and give me a story. I sure appreciate it. Have a wonderful Easter. Bye-bye.